Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here today at Book Blather. If you're new here, I'm Dave, and this is Olive, and we talk about books of all types to help spread the joy of reading. Now lately we've been doing reviews of the books that we've read the last few months. We've been catching up on those. We have a few more to do, but in the meantime we've been reading new books, of course, and so we want to do a little bit of a different video today. Now we tend to go to a lot of book fairs and book sales, and over time, one of the things we've acquired a lot of is vintage science fiction, both paperbacks and hardcovers. And we've acquired a lot over time, but we rarely seem to get around to actually reading many of those. And so at this point, we've accumulated so many, we don't even know what we have. So this year we've started reading some, and but we've recently decided we want to try to read some more of these. So we've been reading. We've read a couple recently, and we decided that basically we would haul our own collection of science fiction books since we don't even know what's there. So you may recall, if you were here recently, we started reorganizing our study where we have most of our books, some of them anyway. And one of the things we did was we put up this little bookcase that has a lot of old fantasy and science fiction paperbacks. So we started there. That is by no means all of them. We have these spread out all over the place, but we figured we'd start there. And so we picked out about 10 off of that shelf that we thought looked interesting to start with right now. And we were going through those, and Olive and I tend to be mood readers, and so we are constantly changing our mind. That's why we never have a fixed TBR, is by the time we're done one book, we've changed our mind about what we want the next one to be. But this was like a little ridiculous. We were looking through these books, and like every 2 minutes, we were changing our mind about what we wanted to read next. So we did just read one, and now we did pick another one, and we're reading that, but as for the next, there's like 10 more, and we literally could not decide. We were going back and forth over and over again. So we figured, why not let you guys decide for us? So we took like the first half, or what do we have here? We have 4 books here, 4 vintage science fiction books, and we figured we'd show them to you, briefly tell you what they're about, and you could, whichever one gets the most votes, that's the one that we'll read next. So let's get started here. So the first one we have is The Cosmic Eye by Mack Reynolds. Okay, and as you can see, the cover says every thought, word, deed was controlled by the superstate. Only one man dared to defy the rulers of the Technate Society. So this was published by Belmont Productions in 1969. And the brief summary on the back is The Watchful Society. Morris should have functioned perfectly in the rigid totalitarian society of the future where every thought, every word, every action was controlled by the superstate. A state where everyone was watched night and day by the great eye of the internal security forces. It was a strange, in many ways, inhuman world, but the rewards were great for those who belonged to the right caste. Morris belonged to the master class which ruled the entire world by brain power or brutality depending on which was needed. Morris was born right at the top. He had everything the Technate Society could provide, and yet he didn't belong. Nonconformity could mean liquidation, but he was prepared to take the risk. So this one sounds cool. Seemed like sort of a 1984 type style of story. Not quite the same, but so that one seemed pretty interesting to us. All right, the next one is one that actually been at the top of our TBR for a while, and we just haven't gotten to, is The Deep Range by Arthur C. Clarke. Okay, and as you can see, this really old copy, Signet, 35 cents there. And so this was published by Signet Books and by Arthur C. Clarke in 1957. So what this one is about is Underwater Challenge. He was a misfit, a spaceship engineer who had developed such fear of outer space that he could no longer function. Permanently separated from his wife and children on Mars, he faced a terrible future back on Earth unless through psychiatry he could create a new life as a warden of the ocean's depths. Taut with excitement and suspense, this is a thrilling novel of tomorrow and a fascinating picture of the weird and sometimes terrifying life beneath the seas in a future where submarine patrols harvest the water's wealth to feed the world. So this one sounds really cool, right? I mean, like, so even today we know so much about the ocean's depths we don't know, and there's so many mysteries down there. It's a great unexplored area right on our own planet. So it almost seems kind of like a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea type of story. So that one also sounded really cool. And the next one is And Chaos Died by Joanna Russ. Or Russ, I think Russ. Joanna Russ is the author of a number of different novels, including a famous classic called The Female Man, which we actually haven't read yet. But this book was published by Ace Books in 1970. And what this one describes is, I have to read the first page here. His name was High Ved. He was an Earthman. But his ship had blown up on a star voyage, and now he was a castaway on an uncharted Earth-like planet. There were people here, humans, apparently an Earth colony, that had lost contact with the homeworld centuries before. They had developed telepathy, telekinesis, teleportation, and the damnedest social system you could imagine had grown out of those abilities. High Ved gradually came to understand what they were, but it took him much longer to realize what they were doing to him. And Chaos Died is a novel about psi powers seen from the inside. It will amaze you, it will challenge you, and you will never forget it. So this book actually reminds me of another book by Nancy Kress about a lost, separated human. It's civilization. It sounds not just that, but the other parts of it. It sounds similar to that, but I can't remember what the name of that was. If I remember, I'll put the picture up over here. But so that one also sounded really interesting. And then the last one in this stack is Time of the Great Freeze by Robert Silverberg. And this one is published by Ace Books. And it looks like this was probably first published in 1964, but this version is 1980. And what this is about is it looks to be set in 2650 AD. Miles beneath the layer of ice that covered Earth in a new ice age of 2300 AD, men survive in the subterranean cities they built to save themselves as the ice crept with killing cold over all living things. For 300 years, no one has seen the surface or communicated with any other city. Until now. Now the scientific instruments that remain seem to indicate that the ice age may be ending. Outside temperatures are reaching a level that may make life possible, though not easy on the outside. But life in the underground cities is comfortable, and those few who are brave enough to be curious about the unknown frozen world above are suspect, troublemakers. A small party of these troublemakers, led by Dr. Raymond Barnes, with a few scientists and others who think they might prefer freedom to safety, has been allowed to take the long, unused elevator up through the ice to the outside. But they go more as exiles than as a scientific expedition. They are not expected and may not be allowed to return. So I guess they've been under the ground for 300 years, so now it's 2650 AD when they try to go up to the surface. So another one, we've read a number of Silverberg books recently and have mostly enjoyed those. So, Silverberg, extremely prolific writer, has many, many novels. And so this one sounded pretty interesting as well. So those are the books that you guys need to choose from for us. The Cosmic Eye by Mack Reynolds, The Deep Range by Arthur C. Clarke, Joanna and Chaos Died by Joanna Russ, and Time of the Great Freeze by Robert Silverberg. So put your vote below, pick one of those, and whichever one you guys pick, that is what we'll read. So yeah, leave us your vote in the comments or any other comments you have about these books. As always, Olive and I appreciate you joining us today. If you enjoyed your time here, hit the like button and the subscribe button, along with the notification bell so that you get notified the next time Olive says it's okay to upload another video. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next time.